Okay, go ahead.
All good. I'm Andy Cunningham. I'm the Marketing and Events Manager for the Klondike Visitors Association. It's ANDYCUNNINGHAM.
Okay. Now, as we look at COVID and the tourism industry, of course, you're representing the Tourism Visitors Association, so we want to know basically how that's impacted the businesses that you work with and your organization in itself.
COVID has obviously been, a very drastic difference for the community of Dawson City and the businesses that operate here. My role is the marketing manager for the region, and obviously, as a very tourism focused community, Dawson City is. It's really put a halt on what happens here. And it's been kind of night and day. We're used to the streets being full, and all summer long there's people everywhere. There's cruise ship passengers, there's RV passengers, people that fly in, drive in. It's a very busy and lively town in the summer, and we noticed a huge shift this year because of COVID, and it's really slowed down, and a lot of businesses and organizations in town have really noticed the impact.
What do you think is the biggest concern of your membership?
The biggest concern of our membership is just the numbers. It's less heads in beds. There's less people here to eat, drink, shop, to enjoy Dawson City, and that makes a huge difference to the bottom line. There's not as many people coming through. For obvious reasons, and on the other hand, we get it. We don't want to put this small community in danger. We're not a city. We don't have the same medical facilities that other places do. So it's kind of that, on one hand, we are definitely suffering from the lack of visitors, but it's hard to welcome that many people in a time like this because we don't want to put the community in danger in any way.
And that's a good point, being that although everybody hears of Dawson City, you're not actually a city, you're more of a town. I would think a very close-knit town for the most part, given the small population, and very proud of the history of this area. When people are traveling through, I know that you will get a few people from Alaska and whatnot. They're traveling through and they've got a 24-hour time window. And how do you think that impacts the stores not on the way? Of course, they can't stop unless they absolutely have to, so for fuel or whatnot. But one of the things that I've been hearing is that there is concern about safety with the weather changing and animals on the highway and the length of the drive, especially for people with children or disabilities, things like that. What would you say to them? In terms of the town and your feeling, is it an apology? Sorry, we can't,
For Dawson City, the border to Alaska has been closed the entire year. So we haven't actually been seeing Alaskans coming up this way. They kind of have to go through Whitehorse and on, where we're very used to. Many Alaskans or visitors will do the full loop. They'll come up this way because they want to, and cross the border here. It's also around fall anyways that the border in Dawson closes. So from about mid-September, late September I should say, until early May, there is no border crossing. So we don't see that through traffic of Alaskans for the better part of the year anyways. So it's not something that we've fully noticed here, other than we just see a few less people kind of doing the quick trip through.
And what would you like to say to those people that want to come and explore Dawson, especially from the U.S., from Alaska, or from other parts of the world? What would you like to say to them when they start looking at destinations to choose, and to welcome them back when the time is right?
Right now we're we're using this time as kind of our planning time, and we're seeing it as other people's planning time. So we want to get out there that Dawson will be a place to visit. It's not right now, you know, but when it's safe, when it is a place to visit, we do welcome people back at that time. Right now is not obviously the time to visit, and we don't want to put anyone in danger, both locals and visitors. But once that time comes, we are looking forward to having this town back as a destination for so many people around the world to come and, you know, experience this magical little town of ours.
Of course, with the COVID pandemic, everybody's had to change the way that they do business and the way they interact with others. What are some ways that that you found that that's so true with you guys in terms of how you're operating and what you need to do to keep yourselves and others safe for the few visitors that you do get at this point?
Absolutely. It's been very interesting to watch. This is a time that I think we'll all remember. The changes that we've been seeing in every business, you know, across the world, and they're not all the same, but everywhere is changing. And I remember, you know, early on when the plexiglass started going up and the, you know, sanitizer at the doorway. A number of businesses in town actually installed sinks right at the entrance to their buildings, which, you know, that includes plumbing and, you know, plumbing an entire new sink to a spot that generally wouldn't have a sink, you know, on your deck, for instance. You know, there's been great changes like that. There's, you know, we operate the casino in town, so the Diamond Tooth Derbies. It's a non-profit casino, and we've had to wash the chips between play. So anytime you sit down and play blackjack, for instance, you have your pile of chips, and the person beside, you know, distance beside you, there's only two people at the table, they had their pile. And the dealer would be, you know, paying out to this person with this set, this person with this set. And then when this person walked away, they would take all of their chips that they didn't win and go and wash those. They all get sanitized right on the spot. And it's
hopefully for the visitors, they want a little.
Absolutely. It's interesting little changes like this that, you know, you notice, and, you know, you see masks around town, you see other ways, like that's the safety side, but then some interesting things have popped up, such as online ordering at stores that didn't have it before.
Right.
You know, so I can sit at my desk, quickly order lunch, and pop in and know it's going to be ready for me. So it's that quick interaction. You're not going to stand around in the business, you know, waiting for 15 minutes. You're just going to walk in, grab your lunch, and head home. There's been, yeah, some cool changes in that way as well.
Excellent. When it comes to the financial impact, of course, it's hitting almost every industry worldwide. And in particular, tourism is especially hard hit no matter where you're at. How are the businesses coping? Have you seen any businesses going and just permanently closing at this point, or is everybody still hanging on in hopes that we get through this quicker?
You know, it's absolutely hitting everyone. I don't know of any businesses in town that, you know, closed permanently. Some didn't open this season, but don't have plans on closing. This wasn't their season.
Right.
But for the most part, most businesses opened. Most are still going. For a lot of businesses right now, they will be doing their shutdown because it's winter. Their businesses the buildings aren't winterized.
Right, it's a seasonal.
Yeah, so the seasonal businesses, they're shutting down right now anyways, because that's what they do. So obviously there's been a huge, huge financial impact. We're lucky that the government is helping. There are some programs in place to help small businesses, both federally and territorially, and that's been very helpful. And we're trying to work with businesses to see how we can help. You know, if there's anything we can do, any way to help, we're trying to encourage people to visit their own backyard, per se. So we want Yukoners to come and visit Dawson City. That's kind of been our big push. That's been our big push. It's been interesting as a marketing organization. How do you do your job during a global pandemic?
Right.
You know, we don't want people to travel. So marketing is kind of it was an interesting switch for us
Right.
to figure out what our place was in all of this, and we found our place was to try and get the territory to travel within itself. You know, instead of going down south this winter, come up to Dawson. That's kind of our push.
Right.
And we'll do the same thing. You know, we'll go to the communities that want us. Not everywhere is welcoming visitors, which is totally understandable. But just kind of keeping that money circulating within the territory as opposed to going elsewhere.
Right.
You know, we have a very large mining community in the Yukon and in Dawson City,
Of course. Yeah.
and it'll be great to have a lot of those people sticking around this winter. You know, spending that money here. And I don't get me wrong, I don't blame them for going down south after a hard summer of, you know, mining.
Yeah.
To go lay on the beach. But this winter, most of them will be sticking around.
Yeah.
That, I think, will help a lot of the businesses.
Well, that's good to know. And of course, I'm up from Vancouver doing this docu-series, and you know, I would strongly encourage people to check out Dawson City and the Alaska Highway, the Klondike. I mean, it's just, you know, views and scenery that you can't see anywhere else. The people are very friendly and welcoming, and no, it's been a beautiful trip to be on this journey to help people understand how the COVID is affecting fellow Canadians. What would you say to others around the world? Just a message of hope, or you know, something that you've learned in all of this. What would you say to them?
All I can honestly think of is that we're all in this together. It's the thing that has kind of gotten us through it, is knowing that you're not alone. Unfortunately, you're not alone, but also fortunately, we're all in this together. We're all trying to get through this very unknown thing. None of us have gone through this before, or anything like this. But, you know, we're all doing it together.
Okay, and of course you touched on a lot of businesses going online, and it seems to be, you know, of course, worldwide, everybody's, you know, going online, to whether it's learning new things, learning about new communities. Forgot to turn my phone off. That's it. First rule of filmmaking. So with that, of course, we want to know where to send people for your website so they can explore the Klondike Visitors Association and find out all of the excitement that waits for them when the borders do reopen and the time is right.
Absolutely. For literally everything Dawson City, it's dawsoncity.ca. We have all the upcoming events, everything you can see and do here, places to eat, drink, and shop, places to stay, you know, just everything Dawson City.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us here and to be a part of the docu-series. Is there anything else that you would like to add about the community, the people, any other messages that we can add out there?
Just that when it's the time, we can't wait to see you.